Sifter for the ear.
News, interviews, reviews, cinema, TV, streaming. Action!
Hi, y'all. This is Jerry Williams, a.k.a. TV Jerry. The James River Film Society and the Dogwood Dell Festival of the Arts are presenting the Silent Music Revival on June 28th. They're screening the 1926 film The Adventures of Prince Ahmed, which is considered the world's oldest surviving animated feature film. Plunky will provide a live musical score. It's free, and I'll include a link on the webpage for this show at TV Jerry.
If you watch like European soccer, I always saw that growing up, and like guys will like kiss each other on the head and like on the cheek, and it's all kind of very like brotherly. That is just something that you don't see in our culture, and it's something that I think we're sorely lacking and would maybe really help us if we were able to kind of like break down those barriers and be comfortable with just expressing love among men like that. Yeah.
That clip is especially appropriate considering the World Cup, which is all about soccer. That was Luca Huff talking about the theme of his film Shallow, which is showing at this year's Fredericksburg Film Festival. This is the festival's fourth year and runs June 25th through 28th. I'll be talking with Dalton Okolo, President and Executive Director, and Carlos Naranjo, Partnership Director. Lucas will also drop in to talk about his film.
Sifter Review of the Week.
The Hunt on Apple TV. There are several shows with this title, and this is a limited edition series from France. 4 friends set out to enjoy a hunting trip, but their expedition quickly goes wrong when another group of hunters targets them. This happens pretty quickly, and the subsequent episodes become increasingly more threatening, right up to the truly gripping finale. This isn't a typical thriller in subject or execution. To keep it compelling, there are new developments that keep adjusting the narrative while keeping us surprised. Even though the characters and motivations aren't fully fleshed out, the performances are strong, and after a slow beginning, the direction keeps a taut rein on the action. I gave The Hunt 4.5 out of 5 stars. Carlos and Dalton, first thing I want to do is get you each to introduce yourselves and then tell us how you became a film lover.
My name is Dalton Okolo. I'm the executive director of the festival. I don't know. I think I became a film lover like most people. I just started watching movies, and then it's kind of became an escape, and then it just kind of became something I was fascinated with. So I think just kind of the standard ground.
Carlos, how about you?
My name is Carlos. I am the partnership director for the festival. I'm volunteer director also. I got into actually movies just because I love the 80s movies. Filmmaker-wise, I am not, but I do like writing stories. And I enjoy all films.
It's funny you say 80s because Dalton has a Breakfast Club poster, don't you?
Yes, sir. John Hughes.
Yep, one of John Hughes' wonderful movies. I reviewed all those movies back in the day. They were all fun. So, Dalton, since we're on you then, how did the festival begin?
The festival kind of came about organically from the kind of just noticing, obviously there's a huge art presence in Fredericksburg, or maybe it's not obvious that there is a big art presence in Fredericksburg. And I moved to here about 2.5 years ago, and it just kind of surprised us that we didn't have a film festival. There's obviously a community here that wants to support that type of stuff. There just wasn't anything there. So we originally were going to do like a single day festival at a local place called Fredericksburg Square. The business wound up moving somewhere else, so we didn't have a location anymore. And so the kind of change we had to do kind of more or less formed the festival. We wound up turning into a multi-day festival that had kind of screenings, but also workshops, panels, kind of the full gambit that a general film festival would have.
Right. And Carlos, how did you get hooked into this?
I actually volunteered on the first year of the festival, and I was a volunteer. And after the festival ended, I kept in touch with Dalton, and they actually brought me in for the second year if I wanted to do the volunteer again. And from there, now I'm actually one of the directors of the festival. But
and now you get the big bucks.
We're volunteers. We're all volunteers.
Right.
But we love the movies, so I love doing this. So
I noticed there's a reference to 1108 Media. What's that about?
Good question. So I went to Radford University, and I say this place, 1108 Clement, and that was the first place we ever made a film. It was an awful movie that I would never want anyone to see. But it was my first experience ever trying to take something from my brain, put it on a script, and then put it on a screen. And that's where 1108 comes from.
So what is your progress now on being a writer, director, producer?
Yeah, slightly better. I finished a film. We actually just wrapped principal photography on our third short last night at about midnight, 1 a.m.
How has the festival grown since it began? How many films did you start with and venues and all that kind of stuff?
We started with about 40 films, and I think we were around three venues. We still have about three venues that we keep each year, 718 venue, Marriott Courtyard, and then Rain venue. So in scope, we've just continued to grow, though, in terms of like submissions, but also in terms of viewership. I think we had about 70 or so submissions, then close to 100 last year, and then we were about 127 this year.
Great.
But the biggest thing that's changed is where we're getting these films from. We probably had a few different countries the first year, probably closer to 10 last year. I think we're at about 31, 32. I can't remember the exact number, Carlos, to be honest, but
Wow.
it's a pretty diverse in terms of like regionality where all these films are coming from.
That's wonderful. Carlos, how is your job evolved? What do y'all do in terms of getting the community involved more?
We actually, throughout the year, we do all out of competition screenings, and we actually utilize other venues. We used to utilize Red Dragon Brewery to watch the out of competition screenings. Sadly, that venue is closed now, so we are in the process of finding new locations. But as the partnership director, I like to go and talk with all the local establishments to see how can we collaborate, cross promote each other. Help me, help you, help us, all of us together, especially since Fredericksburg is a big art community. It's great. We try to help each other.
Surprise guest drop in.
Well, now, I know, Dalton, you mentioned movies coming from all over, but I know you had at least one film from nearby the area. Luca Huff is here to talk about his movie called Shallow. Luca, welcome.
Hey, Jerry. Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Where are you from? You're in New York now, right?
I am. Yeah, I live in Brooklyn right now, New York, but I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia, born in Richmond, Virginia. But yeah, I grew up in Charlottesville.
Uh-huh. And you have a film background.
I do, yeah. I started making films when I was in high school. I went to college for it at UNC, School of the Arts. And now I've moved to Brooklyn since then to continue working in film. Yeah.
And speaking of numbers, you also have 1716 in your title for your company. What does that number mean?
Yes. So just like Dalton, I named my brand, I guess, after somewhere I was making films. And that was actually the street address of the farm I grew up on outside of Charlottesville, which was 1716. So yeah.
Cool. Okay. Give us the basics of Shallow. Where did that idea come from and what's it about?
It's about two guys at a transition point in their lives as they're graduating high school, and they're kind of contending with their inability to be emotionally vulnerable with each other as they're sort of realizing that they might not see each other again. And they've got kind of stuff going on in their own lives. And I think they want to be able to express to one another what it means to them to be in each other's lives.
So was this inspired by your own experience, or where did the idea come from?
Essentially, I feel like growing up, especially, as a young man in Virginia or just anywhere in the world right now, sometimes it's difficult for two young men to be able to tell each other that they love each other or that
Right.
they're there for each other. So we really wanted to kind of like destigmatize what I describe as like platonic intimacy. Sports, guys are able to like hug each other. If you watch like European soccer, I always saw that growing up, and like guys will like kiss each other on the head and like on the cheek. And it's all kind of very like brotherly. That is just something that you don't see in our culture. And it's something that I think we're sorely lacking and would maybe really help us if we were able to kind of like break down those barriers and be comfortable with just expressing love among men like that. Yeah.
Very true. One of those things you hear is you don't shoot with kids, animals, and water. And you chose to shoot some water scenes. Why did you take that chance?
For sure, for sure. Well, tying it into Virginia, we shot the film in North Carolina, but my good friend Carter from Northern Virginia, he had a underwater rig, a housing for his black magic that he's
Right.
really wanted to use. He has since moved to LA to shoot underwater stuff there. His dream is to do a surf documentary. And so we were like, dude, if you're willing and you want to come down, it would be really awesome for us to put a scene in the opening of the film where we use his rig. And so we had him in Lake Norman outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. We shot on this pier, on this dock, had some bits of the characters jumping in the water, swimming around. And originally we wanted there to be more like underwater shots, not necessarily just in the water shots, but it was pretty murky that day. But all good. I'm, happy with what happened there. I'm just grateful for Carter for being able to let us do that. But without him, that would not have been possible for sure.
Right. And also you had a car rig at one point. I noticed there was some driving with, or there was a car rig. So how did you get that? That's another fancy thing.
For sure, yeah. Additionally, my buddy from Charlottesville that I grew up with, Oliver, he was the DP, and he happened to own a car rig, which is a little bit of like a embellishment. It really is just like a couple suction cups on
Right.
a metal like a
Yeah,
rack.
yeah.
And so car rig is a bit of a generous term, but no, I mean we secured it to the hood of that vehicle, and we were able to get some cool shots with it. And so very, again, grateful for Oliver for being able to do that. But yeah, we were just really experimenting with everything we could do with that camera. So
Sure.
I'm happy with how that came
And
out for
these are all
sure.
college buddies coming back to help you out, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What about the cast? Were they college friends or where did they come from?
Yeah,
Mainly the two
so
guys.
sure. Yeah, those two actors, Will and Isaiah, were students at the UNC School of the Arts with me. They're part of the School of Drama. I was School of Film. Most of the crew was School of Film, and then the cast was mostly School of Drama, and we all kind of get the opportunity to work together throughout our 4 years there at
Well, great.
UNCSA, and so they were just good buddies who just wanted to help out.
Oh, cool, cool. Now let's talk briefly without giving anything away. There's an ending. It's not exactly a twist, kind of a twist. How would you, what made that come about? And again, we don't want to give anything away, but what prompted that idea of let's do it this way?
For sure. I mean, I really wanted to be able to kind of like provide the audience with a certain cathartic experience by showing the two characters in this scene. That is how we end the film. But then, of course, there is sort of like like I wouldn't say twist, but maybe you could say twist. Where it switches up, and we audience are presented with new information. Let's put it that way.
Right.
And it's something, this concept that I really wanted to build almost like a whole film around. In fact, we came up with that idea, me and the screenwriter Sophie, and we were like, let's just honestly, the rest of the film is just going to be building up to that point. It's just going to be there to serve that ending.
Ah,
And I hope we achieve that goal with how the rest of the film plays out. But that ending was super important to us.
right. Now you've just mentioned Sophie. That's interesting. This is about two guys and a woman wrote it.
Yeah, 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 for sure. She's my girlfriend while we were in college, and we're still really great friends. She doesn't necessarily want to pursue a career in film anymore, but she's an author, a creative writer, and she's super talented. I cannot thank her enough. She's written a ton of projects. I think honestly, all of the projects I ever worked on while I was in college, and so the two of us, I would consider pretty solid. Like we work well together, and she's great. And so I would say that I kind of conceptualize Shallow coming from like personal experience, like lived experience as a guy, a young man, and she was just happy to help out, and I think she killed it with screenplay, and I can't thank her enough. I mean, all credit to her for writing it.
Right. You may want to not address this, but if you do, there is a parental abuse moment.
For sure.
What drove that?
It was really important to me to show how some young people encounter problems at home or just in life that aren't maybe immediately obvious to everyone. And even in the film, Will's character Dylan, who's the one being abused by his parental figure, it doesn't want to necessarily talk about it. I mean, they don't even address it. The characters just kind of brush past it. We as the audience witness it, but they don't necessarily acknowledge it to one another. And I think that was the most important aspect of that whole interaction, and showing any of that is just to show that like young men, even if there's something so glaringly evil, I would even say, about something going on in their lives, they might not even talk about it with one another, even after seeing it firsthand.
Yeah,
So that was sort of the point I was trying to illustrate with that.
men.
Right.
All right. Don't go away, but Carlos and Dalton, let's get you back on. Talk a bit about what's going to happen this year. Is there some new things, some different ideas you've got going on this year?
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff. Like I said, we got films from all over the place. We have a wonderful panel with a Richmond director, Melody Rocher, where she's going to talk about the feature she made, Bird in Hand.
By the way, I've done a podcast with her, and that's a wonderful movie, and she's really cool. So tell her I said hello, because we bonded at the Richmond Festival.
Oh, that's so dope. So you've met Melody, and
she's great.
Yeah, wonderful. So yeah, and did she talk to you about the VFO's help in making that film?
You have to listen to my podcast.
You're right, Jerry. Content is content. But yeah, like we wanted to do stuff like that where like we can help other filmmakers kind of talk about how Melody realized her journey and, use a resource like the VFO to kind of make this film a reality. And then, we've got a great workshop with Austin Bunn, who's a filmmaker who showed last year. He's also got a film showing this year But he's also a teacher, I think, at Cornell, and he does screenwriting. And so this year he's doing a great class where you can bring in a log line, and he'll help you turn that log line into a structure. So essentially, like, I have an idea for a script. Let me help you create a log line that you could more or less use to market your film.
Cool.
So that's what we got going on in workshops, and then just happy hours and hangouts.
There you go. Okay. There is a theme this year. What's the theme, and how did you come up with that?
Yeah. The theme this year is cinema that connects. It kind of plays a few different ways. First and foremost, cinema is a working man's medium. The idea being like, anyone can go to a movie and appreciate it and have an opinion on it, and those opinions are all valid. And so we want to, just have a bunch of strangers sit in a dark room, watch a screen, and have an experience, and then talk about these movies after. Hopefully, that creates connective tissue.
Right.
But I also think like it's a little bit of a bigger idea in terms of like we're bringing all these films from all over the place and kind of centralizing them in Fredericksburg. And so hopefully, again, cinema is connecting people.
Okay. Now, the question I always like to end with, I want to ask all three of you, when you're not working on your own project or your own festival, what have you been watching lately? And first, I got to ask you, especially Luca, because I think you started doing YouTube videos, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm making videos on TikTok first and foremost.
Oh, wow. Okay. Short ones. So anyway, I wanted to ask you, first of all, Obsession or Backrooms? Have you seen either one of them? The two giant hits right now from YouTubers?
Footnote.
Obsession was directed by YouTube director Curry Barker for about $750,000 and has grossed more than $332 million already. Backrooms is at $301 million and was made by 20-year-old director Kane Parsons for $10 million. I'll include my review of Obsession on the webpage for this show at TV Jerry.
I still have not seen either of them.
Oh, wow.
I've heard so much about all of them. Yeah. The first day that I think Obsession had hit theaters, or maybe the day after, I had literally like 4 or 5 separate people come to me like in person, over text, through all sorts of being like, you have got to see this movie. I've got to see that movie, but I'm getting around to it.
Carlos, Dalton, y'all seen it yet? Either one of them?
I have seen The Backrooms.
What'd you think?
I like Backrooms. I never watched the YouTube videos. I heard of the YouTube videos because my kids watch them,
Right.
but I never got to see them. So I rather watch the movie without watching the videos, so I didn't have any expectations of it. So I kind of like the actual film. It did start slow, but I kind of like it.
Oh, good. Dalton, how about you?
Yeah, I'm the opposite of Carlos. I've seen Obsession. I have not seen Backrooms yet. I'm interested to see it. I did like Obsession though, Jerry. I like kind of the atmospheric, a little bit slow build. I think I also kind of liked that it felt like more story based and less kind of based on like, jump scares and kind of the traditional slasher features.
Which are my favorites. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Give me a maniac with a machete and I'm happy.
That's a good movie too. Yeah.
That's one of the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so is there anything y'all have seen lately streaming or something other than those two movies?
Honestly, I've been watching a lot of reality TV, Jerry. I think it's just been kind of like candy for my brain as a way to relax. So
just get off of it. Right.
Yeah.
Luca, Carlos?
I haven't really. I think the last thing I watched was I saw the TV Glow a little while back.
Oh, wow.
Which I really enjoyed. I had never seen it, and a lot of people had been recommending it to me for years. Loved it. And then I went to the National Film Festival for Talented Youth in March, and that sticks out to me just because I saw a ton of awesome films there by folks kind of my age, a little older, a little younger, and then that was really eye-opening. I loved everything I saw there.
So you weren't showing, you just went as an audience member.
I was showing Shallow
cool.
there, which is going to be playing at Fredericksburg. But honestly, I was going as just an audience member to most of those, like to just experience the whole thing.
Cool.
It was just a cherry on top to be able to show something.
Carlos, anything else you thought of? Maybe any of your kids make you watch something?
Well, they make me watch anime, but I've been watching the TV show From and Teacup. They're pretty great TV shows.
From and Teacup. I'm not familiar with either one of those, I don't think. Guys, it's great to have you on. It's great to hear about the festival. Congratulations on your continued success and good luck with this year.
Thank you so
much,
appreciate it.
That was Dalton Okolo, President and Executive Director, and Carlos Naranjo, Partnership Director of the Fredericksburg Film Festival, which will run for the 4th year, June 25th through 28th. I'll have a link to the festival on the webpage for this show at TV Jerry.
Coming soon. In theaters.
Supergirl. She was introduced briefly in the last Superman movie, and you may recognize Millie Alcock from her role in House of the Dragon. Jackass, Best and Last. As the title suggests, this is the last time these maniacs are having fun torturing each other, and there's a robot. Lucky Strike. Scott Eastwood, yes, Clint's son, plays a wounded American soldier trapped behind German lines during the Battle of the Bulge, also with another Nepo actor, Colin Hanks. Couture. Angelina Jolie plays an American filmmaker who faces challenges and self-discovery in Paris during Fashion Week.
TV and streaming.
The American Experiment on Netflix. Their contribution to the celebration of America's 250th is a 5-part documentary from Tom Hanks and Gary Goetzman's production company. It's about the early years of our democracy. For a comedy approach, there's Life, Larry, and the Pursuit of Happiness on HBO. Subtitled An Almost History of America, this sketch comedy comes from Larry David with actors dressing up in period clothes, including Bill Hader and Kathryn Hahn as Abraham and Mary Lincoln, John Hamm and Sean Hayes as the Wright brothers, and David reunited with Jerry Seinfeld as explorers Lewis and Clark. Wild Cherry on Paramount Plus. This BBC thriller takes a look at a wealthy gated community where a scandal erupts at an exclusive all-girls school. Little Brother on Netflix. John Cena, who's becoming one of our best comic actors, stars as a successful real estate agent whose life gets crazy when his young brother shows up, played by Eric Andre. Strung on Peacock. A talented violinist whose new job tutoring for an elite family turns into a battle for safety and sanity when she realizes her past links to the family's patriarch. Avatar: The Last Airbender. On Netflix, after more than 2 years, the second season arrives. The Bear on Hulu. Jeremy announces he's leaving the restaurant, so that makes this the final season. Next week, to celebrate July 4th and our 250th, I'll be featuring Declarations, Black Americans and the Revolutionary War, a documentary that was produced locally by VPM. There's a sold-out screening at the VMFA this Monday, but it also made its on-air debut that night, and it'll be re-airing on VPM PBS. We'll meet the producer and director of this documentary. This is Jerry Williams. Thanks for listening.
For more Sister, including literally thousands of reviews,
visit tvjerry.com.
That's a wrap.